Hey there guys, this is Pharaoh2091 and welcome back to Let's Play Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Dual Destinies. Last we left off, we began Case 4, the Cosmic Turnabout, where our best friend Clay Terrence has been killed and supposedly by our client, Solomon Starbuck. And we just listened to some of the details of the case, and now we're going to go ahead and do our cross-examination. However, it just doesn't seem like there's anything really to present or present evidence, because nothing seems contradictory, so I'm just going to go ahead and press on stuff. So, two big booms. How powerful were the explosions? Well, the one in the main building wasn't strong enough to bring the place down. But the room it went off in was burned black. Thankfully, nobody was hurt. Due in large part, of course, to me stepping up to lead the evacuation. Wait, what were you doing there in the first place, Detective Fulbright? I'm Bobby Fulbright, hero of justice. I'll be there wherever and whenever people need my help. I go to the other side of the world, or even the edge of the universe. I'm not so sure he knows how far that actually is. But I guess I'll leave that one alone. No, it seems weird. Yeah, admirable decision, Justice Dono. Huh? What did he decide? Anyway, could you describe what it was like at the Space Center at that time? Well, the bomb cut the power to the central bank of elevators in the third floor lounge. It was pitch black in there, I tell you. However, the security cameras and whatnot were running on emergency backup. And how did the evacuation go? Well, I immediately and heroically whisked people down to the Space Center's basement shelter. The basement shelter? Yes, there's an emergency shelter beneath the Space Center. An emergency shelter, huh? Oh, here it is. It's at the bottom of the diagram. Yep, B1. The Space Center's pretty impressive to have its own shelter. So the evacuation report was added to the court record. Guess we'll take a look at that. The power outage and evacuation seem unrelated to the murder at this point. I guess I'll leave that aside for now. So there were 2 explosions in total, correct? Yep, that's right. I still find it weird how he was just apparently there. I mean, we're just gonna leave it alone, huh? All right. Well, let's real quick take a look at the evacuation report. So the police officers and riot police gave evacuation instructions immediately. There was a power outage and the affected areas remained dark. The security system switched over to emergency power and continued to work. Evacuees moved to the basement shelter. Okay. Makes sense. So on the second floor, so they went off there. Let me get this straight. Mr. Starbuck rigged a rocket he was gonna board with explosives. Huh? What are you talking about? If the defendant really did plant the bomb in his own rocket, he'd get caught in the explosion as well. Oh, well, I hadn't thought of that. Fine. A simpleton for a simpleton. Fulbright, the motive. Understood. The defendant actually had astrophobia. Astrophobia? What's that? Well, fear of space, naturally. Just the thought of space can cause the afflicted to freeze up. And so, in his terror, the defendant found a way to stop the launch at the last minute. That's absurd! Well, unfortunately for you, we have evidence. Take a look at these. What are they? Well, these anti-anxiety tablets were found among the defendant's possessions. Apparently, he was taking them in secret to quell his fears. There was a multitude of problems with the rocket Mr. Starbuck had wrote 7 years ago. Rumor has it threatened to crash a number of times as well. That was, of course, very traumatic for Mr. Starbuck. Objection! But that doesn't mean he goes so far as to blow up his own ship. Silence. The defendant couldn't bear to mar his good name, now could he? No, not after the media had branded him Soul Starbuck, space pioneer extraordinaire. Given these conditions, the defendant could hardly run away like some base mutt. What? So that's why you think he resorted to the bombing? Naturally. He constructed this act of sabotage in an attempt to blow up the Space Center, which would effectively abort the launch, but spare his reputation. Ugh! Now I'm sure you understand why we had to bring justice down on this atrocious criminal. Shush. I was gonna say atrocious, and I was like, no space stuff here. Only 2 astronauts, so, well then, yeah. Are you sure it was only the 2 of them? Well, it was just before the spaceship was set to launch, so of course it was only those 2. Well, there could have been somebody else inside that rocket.
Silence.
The notion of a third-party launch pad 1 is utterly absurd. Just to enter the area from the lounge, one must pass through a door guarded by a fingerprint recognition device. Allow me to state up front that there are a precious few of the clearance to do so. A fingerprint recognition device? Sounds as futuristic and complex as a space center. Well, actually, it's not as amazing as you think, Your Honor. Take a look at this photo. This is the door to the lounge with the fingerprint lock. The only personnel fingerprints are registered can pass through. Whose fingerprints are registered? I see. It is very different from what I had in mind. Why the hell I went so slow? And there's a record of the number of people that passed through the door yesterday? Well, yes, there was only 3. Defendant, victim, and... oh, the director of the Space Center, Yuri Cosmos. Then doesn't that mean it's possible that the director's the one who did it? Not a chance. He was in the main building when the bombs exploded at 9:28. Doing his job directing the launch. Besides having an alibi, he has no motive for committing these senseless acts. He has a point. I guess the director can't be considered a suspect then. Okay, so we have the data for the door. It's good that we're getting all this information. We gotta kind of had to press him out of it. Managed to make it back. So while it would appear that the pair barely escaped with their lives, in actuality, one of them had already been murdered inside a rocket. That's the angle the prosecution wants to push, correct? You got it! In fact, that's what I've been trying to say this whole time! If the victim had been alive, he would have for sure tried to stop the bombing. Is there any chance Mr. Terrain could have been killed before he boarded the rocket? Well, they were both alive and well at boarding time and embarked under their own power. Their hearts full of hopes and dreams of space. And then both their hopes and dreams are dashed. If I may continue my explanation, after the evacuation order was given, the defendant made his escape carrying the victim to make it look like a rescue. But after the escape, one of the 2 was found stabbed to death. And that's it. Might as well press on that. And who was the first to find the victim? Well, actually, there were 2 of them. The Space Center director, Yuri Cosmos, and Detective Candace Arm. One of them was a detective? Yep, Detective Arm specializes in bombings, you see. Oh, so I'm an idiot. I don't know why the hell I thought this took place after the first case. So, that eye thing was just... well, never mind. I don't know what the hell is... why? The timeline, for whatever reason, keeps confusing me, but it's not that hard. Never mind. I'm just spouting nonsense. She and the director were ordering the evacuation following the explosions. They were also worried about the astronauts, so they hurried over to the boarding lounge. Well, that's when they discovered the victim along with the defendant. 2 witnesses, huh? And one of them is a detective. I doubt either one would have anything to say that would help me. I think that pretty much covers the details of this case. Only the victim and the defendant were on the launch pad when the former was killed. If this is the truth, then only Mr. Starbuck could have carried out this crime. What little I could get out of him only hurt my case. Justice Dono. Foolish is the warrior who rushes headlong into battle. Preparation is an essential element of battle, so I'd advise you take a gander at this. What is it? Footage from a security camera. As the 2 astronauts emerged from the bowels of the Launchpad 1 corridor. The boarding lounge security camera captured their desperate escape. Now, I would direct your attention to what the defendant is shouldering, which you can see is none other than the lifeless body of the victim. What? What? Oh, that's not good. That's not good at all. Order! Order, I say! This lines up exactly with what the prosecution has been asserting. I should have known Blackwell would have something like this up his sleeve already. So, we have a security camera footage. That's just great. Apollo? How exactly did they determine that Clay was already gone in that footage? Ah, I see what you mean. Whether Clay was still alive at that point is pretty crucial. Your Honor, please take another look at the footage. Isn't it possible Mr. Train was still alive here and that Mr. Starbuck was helping him? Why, I believe you're right. One man carrying the other to safety. What a beautiful expression of friendship.
Silence.
Perhaps that's what it looks like to a one-eyed hothead and a dotard, whatever. But it only makes sense of the victim's dead body, if it's a dead body. What do you mean? Fulbright, explain it to Justice Dono. You got it! Ready, kid? If the murder had occurred in the lounge, someone could have spotted it. Anyone could enter the lounge after all. But doing it while they were alone in the spaceship, that's a horse of a different color.
Objection!
But you can't deny that there's a possibility the murder could have happened in the lounge. All that video shows is a man helping his fellow astronaut out.
Silence.
Your assertion is based on emotion. It's based on your belief that Mr. Starbuck would surely help his own disciple. But you have no logical explanation as to why the victim could still be alive. Well, unfortunately, Mr. Justice, the prosecution is right. Your argument is lacking in sound logic. But it sounded perfectly logical to me. Well, Mr. Justice, if you have no further objections, I believe it's time to bring this cross-examination to a close. Objections? Well, Oh, thank God, Athena. Your Honor, the defense requests a little time to think and regroup. Given the facts, I'm not sure I see the need. What is it, Athena? It's just, there's something that's been bothering me. If it isn't a defense stalling for time, as always. Very well, I'm feeling generous. You may have a small measure of time. Yes! You have 5 seconds. 5 seconds?! After that, I declare cross-examination to be closed, and a verdict to be rendered. Your boldness, raise your gavel high. It's time for a countdown. Oh! Ready? Well, that was like, I love how you just hear like, yep, I'm ready. We don't have time. We don't have time. Spit it out, Athena. Only 3 more seconds. Look, I don't think the prosecution's explanation is very complete. Meaning there's something missing. Like, they conveniently left it unexplained. Something they didn't explain. Ah! You're right! I think I know what you're talking about. Your 5 seconds are up, Mr. Justice. That was more like 20, but okay. Oopsie daisy. Is there anything about the prosecution's argument that you would like to rebut? Whatever. Yes, Your Honor. Actually, there is. There is something the prosecution has yet to make clear to this court. Well, if you put it that way. What is it the prosecution has failed to explain? Well, we got the motive or why the body was moved. Well, let's see here. Well, did they even say for like a motive? I mean, I think they're just like, yeah, the body. It's like, okay, whatever. No, wait a minute. What, did they say like the whole purpose of moving the body was so like they would? No. Yeah, why the hell would he even move the body? I mean, why leave it? Why just not leave it in a spaceship? You know, where there's no cameras or everything, or maybe it can be burned up in the fire. So, yeah, why the hell was the body moved then in the first place? They have failed to explain why Mr. Starbuck would bother bringing the body back at all. If the defendant wanted to kill the victim, why didn't he just leave his body in the rocket? Why go through the trouble of bringing him all the way back to the boarding lounge? Oh, well, that's true. I don't think we've heard the prosecution's thoughts on that yet. That's because they have none, Your Honor. After all, how does one explain something so illogical? The prosecution is claiming that the defendant moved the victim's dead body. But what if the entire premise of that argument is wrong? And let's hear your theory, Mr. Justice. The defense proposes the defendant didn't kill the victim. He was helping him. Yeah! Fulbright, explain it to our sad friend here before I nod off in this monotone monologue. Inform him exactly why Spaceboy moved the victim. Huh? You've got to be joking. Oh, it's simple. Mr. Starbuck did what he did to direct suspicion away from himself. He wanted to create the impression he heroically risked his life to save his partner. That's why he made sure to make it look like security cameras so there'd be a record. At the very least, he appears to have achieved success with you and the old man. Ah! Yep, he's straight up said, oh, what a beautiful thing of friendship. The average person wearing a spacesuit weighs easily over 200 pounds. Saving the life of a partner who weighs as much while trying to escape deadly flames. What a dramatic sob story fit for the silver screen. Indeed, I was completely taken in by the humanity of the story. You see, yet the true ending is that all traces of his hammy act were meant to be blown up. Yes, and now we arrive at the thrilling conclusion. The third explosion.
Objection!
Third? What are you talking about? There was no third explosion.
Silence.
Indeed, you are correct. But that is thanks to Detective Arm. It was she who identified and secured the bomb. However, it doesn't change the fact that the third bomb was discovered in the lounge. The steel coffin beside a witness stand. That would be a bomb transport case. We use that to transport a deactivated bomb here. It was found in the lounge. A bomb in the form of a most distasteful toy. What? One on the second floor of the main building, one on the launch pad, and one in the lounge. The defendant planned to set off 3 firework displays. Fortunately, the third was discovered before it could be detonated, for had it not, the victim's body and other vital evidence would surely have been immolated.
Objection.
Ooh boy. God! Before you utter a word, know that the evidence supports me. Ugh. It's like he's reading my mind. As it is still undergoing forensic investigation, I do not have the evidence on hand. However, know that a peculiar item was found in one of Mr. Starbuck's pockets. So specifically, a bomb detonation switch. You found what? That's terrible. I suspect the defendant had no time to destroy such damning evidence when the Space Center director and his detective Arm stumbled across the murder. So he thought to hide it in his pocket. Feeble brain that he is. Oh! No! Mr. Starbuck would never do anything like that! Yeah! Oh, he's even more. Okay. Justice Dono, open your eyes and see the truth. This appears to be irrefutable evidence that the accused set off the explosions. No! There has to be some kind of mistake. This can't be the truth. Still can't accept it? You believe in your client, come what may. Then why don't you cross-examine the defendant himself? This has got to be a trap. It's like Black was controlling the entire game. Yeah, it seemed like he was waiting for me to bring up the body-moving issue. Why do you say that? Because he had just the right argument when I pointed it out. And to really rub it in, he had a decisive piece of evidence up his sleeve, too. He was trying to shake my faith in Mr. Starbuck and break me down. Then, making you cross-examine Mr. Starbuck at this point was part of his plan, too? Totally underhanded, but I wouldn't expect anything less from him. Now, let's hear from the arch-villain, the fiendish murderer himself. Famed astronaut, Solomon Starbuck. Witness, your name and occupation, please. Solomon Starbuck, astronaut. How did this happen? Mr. Starbuck, you aren't looking very well. Will you be able to give testimony? No. Well, unfortunately, no is not an option. Well, then why even ask him then? We're being accused of the Space Center bombing and a murder of Clay Terran. Please testify to all these allegations. Mind if I take the suit off? It's getting really heavy.
Silence.
It's not the weight of the suit that you feel, but of your sins. Prepare to carry that weight for the rest of your life. Well, that was a saying. Banish me to the moon. I don't care anymore. Wow, that was super negative. Is he gonna be alright up there? He'll be fine, I think. As long as he doesn't totally give up and say he did it, that is... Come on, there's no way he could have done it. He can't! See? I didn't kill him. Well, in any case, we'll hear his testimony and next episode and just take it from there. So, as usual, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time for Let's Play Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Dual Destinies. I'll see you guys later.